and welcome all to my channel. So in today's class we are going to be making a simple video on how to lace your dress. So we have a previous video on a detailed video on how to achieve your corset. So I'm going to go ahead and link that down below so you can watch how to get your corset. So but for today's class we are going to be looking at the back block of a corset, which is lacing. Now lacing is in replace of zip or button. So lacing comes along with your corset, your wedding dress, and you can also apply your lacing to your normal dress. However, most wedding dresses and most corsets comes with lacing. So today's class I'm going to be showing you guys the easiest way to achieve your lacing and how to lace your dress. So what are the basic measurements required? We have our shoulder measurements, bust measurements, waist measurements, and our top length. So for today's class I'm going, like I said earlier, the lacing is at the back. So for the front we have our corset. I'm not going to show you how to get your corset in this class because we have a detailed video on that. So all you have to do is to click on the link and watch the detailed video on how to get your corset. So I assume that you've done that. So we have our shoulder measurement, which is 14 divided by 2, we have 7 inches. Our bust plus 2 divided by 4 plus 1, we have 11 inches. Our waist plus 2 divided by 4 plus 2, we have 10. And our top length plus 2 inches, we have 22 inches. Now when you look at our measurements, I know you are going to ask plus 2, which is our sewing allowance, plus 1, which is our lining allowance. So our waist measurements, why we have plus 1 at our bust and plus 2 at our waist, because for our waist measurements we have that allowance. So the extra 1 inch we have here is allowance for our dart. So but today I'm going to be drafting it first on the pattern. So from the pattern I'm going to transfer it to the fabric. So you can draft yours directly on your fabric, or you can just follow the step, draft on your pattern first and then you transfer to your fabric. So I want to show you guys my pattern paper. This pattern paper is available at our store, and one thing I love about this pattern paper is about 60 inches long. Okay, look at it. Look at where it gets up to. It gets up to your shoulder, my shoulder level, which is about 60 inches long, and it has two surfaces. One surface is the shining surface and the other surface is the dull surface. So your shining surface can be used at the back and the dull surface can be used at the front. So I advise you to get this pattern paper, and this pattern paper is available. So I'm going to link down the detail below if you want to order for yours. Instead of using your normal pattern paper, those pieces one you tend to join together. So this is actually the best every pattern drafter should have, because one, it eliminates joining and it's actually very nice. So I'm going to link down the details if you want to get that. Don't forget to drop your questions, your comments, topics you want us to treat at the comment section, and in our next class we're just going to pick up topics from there and do just that. So this is my pattern paper. I've gone ahead to cut out the length of what I need. So the first thing we are going to do now is to go ahead and mark our zip allowance. Like, I'm going to draft the lacing from our normal basic back block, so you guys can have a detailed understanding on how to do that. So our top length is 22 inches. I'm just going to have 22 inches at this point. So I'll go ahead with my pattern master and connect all the lines together. So the next thing we have to do now is to go ahead and mark our shoulder measurement. So our shoulder measurement is 7 inches. So we go ahead and mark 7 inches. So before that, this 7 inches is just to give us like a guide on where our shoulder is going to get up to. So before that, we are going to go ahead and mark our basic measurement, which is shoulder to bust 10 inches, shoulder to under bust 13.5 inches, shoulder to waist 17.5 inches. So you can go ahead and measure your client. So I'll repeat again: shoulder to bust 10 inches, shoulder to under bust 13.5, shoulder to waist 17 inches. So this 7 inches just helped me to know where my line will get up to. So I'll go ahead and connect it together. Now after that, the next thing you are going to do is to go ahead and label your lines, because labeling is actually very, very important in pattern drafting. So this is our bust measurements, our under bust, our bust measurements, under bust, waist measurements, and our top length. So for our armhole is usually half inches before our bust measurement. So if your bust measurement is 10 inches, my armhole will be 9.5 inches. 9.5 inches, which is our armhole length. So I'll go ahead and connect this together, and I'll label it as my armhole length. So the next thing you have to do now is to go ahead and mark your dart measurement. So our dart is 8 inches. That is distance between one nipple to the other. 8 inches divided by 2, we have 4 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark my 4 inches all the way down. So using my pattern master, I'll go ahead and connect the lines together. So at the waist, don't forget that at our calculation we use 2 inches for our waist, and I said the extra 1 inch is for our dart allowance. So at my waistline, I'll go ahead and mark half inches on both sides, and then I'll connect it together with my pattern master. So we have our dart line. So the next thing we are going to do now is to go ahead and mark our bust measurement. Now our bust measurement is 11 inches. I'll go ahead and mark 11 inches. My waist measurement is 10 inches. I'll go ahead and mark my 10 inches. And for my top length, I'm going to make use of my hip measurement, which is 12 inches. So connect it with your pattern master. Now this pattern master is also available, like we have the complete set, so you can get yours. Now back to our neckline. We've marked 7 inches. This is 7 inches by 3. However, this 3 is just a standard. You can go ahead and increase yours depending on the style. So I'll take away my 1 inch for my shoulder slope. So from my 7 inches, I'll go ahead and connect my armhole. So this is basically what we have as our basic block. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to go ahead and cut this out and show you guys how to achieve your lacing. So after cutting it out, this is basically what we have. So we went ahead to apply it on the next part because we want to have our full back basic measurement. So for you to get this, you are going to make use of your tracing wheel. Like I said, the tracing wheel comes along with the set of pattern instruments, which is also available. So you just replicate it back. So I'll go ahead and make use of my glue to hold it firm so you guys can see it clearly. So we have like our full basic back. So this is our full back. So the next thing we have to do now is to determine where you want your lacing to fall. So yours could fall this way. Preferable it falls from the left hand side. This is my left hand. It falls from the left hand side to the right hand side because you want to lace this way. Okay, so now determine your neckline. That should be the next thing we should do. Wow, sorry the ink has poured. Sorry the ink has poured, but however we are good to go. So we determine our neckline. Once you are done with that, so determine the neckline you want. It could be round neckline. Let's say you want a round neckline. Your round neckline could be this way. Let's say you want a 4-corner neckline. It depends on you, whichever neckline you want. So just get your neckline around that region. So this assumed to be our back block, like our full back block now. So the next thing we are going to do now is to extend this our dart line up. Extend your dart line up with about this is 3.5 inches. You extend it with about 3.5 inches. So because our lacing is to start exactly at our neckline, so if your neckline stops here, your lacing should be where your neckline ends, okay? Because you don't want to lace, you are lacing directly after your neckline. So this is our neckline. Our lacing should fall somewhere around here because we want to cross this part. So once you are done with that, determine how many inches you have. Please drop your questions, okay? If you are confused, just drop your questions at the comment section. So determine how many inches are far from each other. So this is 9 inches. This is 9 inches. So if you feel that your 9 inches is okay, basically this lacing, if you feel that your 9 inches is okay, because 9 inches is actually the distance between the two darts. If you want it to be closed a little, you can just eliminate this your zip allowance. If you want the upper part to be a little bit smaller, you can just eliminate this. You can see I eliminated one zip allowance and I'm just making use of one. But if you want it to be more smaller, you can eliminate the 2 zip allowance so that you can have a smaller lacing at the back. So it depends on what you want. Now we have 9 inches. As I'm coming down 9 inches at this point, I'll mark my 8.5 inches. Okay, let me eliminate this zip allowance so you guys can see, you guys can understand it by what I mean by eliminate your zip allowance. So let me just cut the zip allowance off. So by the time you eliminate your zip allowance, you know we had 9 inches earlier. By the time we eliminate our zip allowance, we have 7.5 inches. Can you see that? So it's a little bit smaller. So we have 7.5 inches. When you come down, you mark 7 inches. Like you reduce it the more you come down. So here I mark 5.5 inches. At this point here, I mark 4.5 inches. It actually depends on how you want it to be, but one thing you should take note of is the more you come down, you should reduce it. Like as you decrease, you should also reduce it, like to give it a form of a slope. So yours could be very small, yours could be very small. It's not compulsory you follow this. It depends on what you want to achieve. So next thing we are going to do now is that after tracing the line, this is where we have our slope. We are going to cut out that region. So let me just cut out the neckline. We are going to cut out that region, cut out our dart, this other line we use for our lacing. Okay. Now, if you want to go with a tube dress, because most times, like I said earlier, lacing comes with corset, lacing comes with tube dress. Your lacing could come with a normal shoulder, but let me just explain it if you are coming with a tube dress. So let's say a tube dress. Now this is our neckline. We assume that our neckline is a straight neckline. It depends on the neckline you want. It's not compulsory you follow my neckline. We just want to cut out this neckline space. So that is a tube. We eliminated that. So you can see what we have now. So this is where our lacing falls. This is our dart line, and this is the way we decline. So we are going to throw this away. We're going to keep this aside. So this is what we are going to transfer to our fabric. Basically just these 2 pieces. So now let me get my fabric and show you guys. So all you have to do is to place these 2 sides, not this side. Like I said earlier on, we are eliminating this side away. So you place these 2 sides on your fabric and cut it out. So let me go ahead and cut this out and show you guys what it looks like. So guys, after cutting it out, this is what we have. So you can see this slope this way. Looking at this, you can see that here is wider than this point. So you set this aside. Now the next thing you are going to do now is to cut another piece of fabric you are going to use to extend your lacing. Now you fold your fabric into 2 this way, and basically for the length of what you need, it actually depends. Like what I mean is this. Let me show you guys what I mean. There's some lacing that you start from this dot line to the second dot line. So you could lace from just this dot line to the second dot line. You can decide your inner lacing should start from this dot line to the end of the fabric here. So while you are joining into your front, you have this part attached to it. So it depends, but one thing you should take note of in your inner fabric for your lacing is that it must be attached to a particular fabric. So you can attach it here if you feel this is comfortable for you, or you can just attach it at your dot line. It must be attached to only one side so that it can flip through this way. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it out so that you can understand it before we move to the sewing room. So all you just have to do is to fold your fabric into two, determine the length you want for yours, like I said, where you want it to get up to. So I'll just go ahead and cut out the piece of fabric and show you guys what it looks like. So this is what we want to achieve. So mine is starting from this point because I said it must be attached to a particular point, and it's just going to flip through. So by the time you place your pattern paper this way, you can see your fabric gets up to somewhere around here, which is fine. Now for the length of it, your length should actually be longer than your upper block because you are going to stuck in here into the lower side of your gown, okay, into the lower side, so it should be longer. So this is what we have. Basically we have our two piece coming this way. So another thing you have to take note of is that for this your inner piece is folded into two. You can go ahead and iron your gum stay to it or your paper stay just to give it a little bit of structure. So this is what we have now. Another thing you should also take note of is that you are going to have loops. Loops simply means loops simply means little fabrics that are sewn. So we are going to have little loops like this. We are going to achieve little loops this way. Now for the length of the loops, or how many loops do you need, it actually depends on you. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to cut out a long piece, just a long piece, determine how many inches you want it to be and how wide you want your loop to be. So I'm just going to cut out a long piece. While we are sewing, that is when you are going to understand where we need these loops for, okay? So there is no exact measurement for the loops. It just depends on how many you want to achieve. So basically this is what we need. Now let's go to the sewing room where I'll show you guys how to replicate this into a lacing. And another thing you also need aside the loops, before I forget, is that you also need your lacing. Now your lacing could be your piece of fabric in a long form which serves as your rope, where you're going to intertwine it together. That is what they call lacing. So for that again, we need another long piece of fabric depending on how long you want your rope to be. So I'll just go ahead and cut that out. So it depends on how long you want your rope to be and the wideness of your rope. So I'll just cut this out. So basically those are the things you need while you are cutting. Now let's move to the sewing room and let me show you guys how to replicate this into your lacing. So guys, this is what we have for the back block. So what we are going to do now is that we are going to go ahead and turn each of them with lining. But for me, I'm using the fabric to line it. Okay, the reason why I'm using the fabric to line it is because the fabric is actually light and I just want to use the fabric to line it. So you go ahead and line it with either your lining, your bridal, if you are making use of lace, and just turn it for the two piece. So I'll go ahead and do that and show you guys what it looks like. So after turning it, this is what it will look like. So I'll go ahead and do the same for the second piece. So this is what it will look like after turning it. So we'll go ahead and set this aside. The next thing we have to do now is to bring in our piece. So to give this more structure, depending on the type of fabric you are using, you can go ahead and iron your gum stay or your paper stay to it. So after that, we just So you are going to have this by the time you are done turning it. So we'll set this aside. So the next thing we are going to create is our loops. Now don't forget that we cut out like a little piece with about 2 inches, and the width depends on what we want to achieve. So all you have to do is to fold it. You just need about 2 inches, okay? So you just fold this. So this is what we are looking at. However, the size of your loop actually depends on what you want. So yours could be smaller, yours could be a way bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this all the way down and show you guys what next. So this is what we have. So the next thing you have to do is determine how like the length you want for your loops. So basically for this I just need about 3 to 5 loops, okay? But the number of loops you want depends on what you want to achieve. There's no particular number, it just depends on you. So I'll just go ahead and cut it out into the number of pieces I want for my loops. So give this video a thumbs up, like, share and subscribe. Okay, so I have this according to the number of loops that you want. So I'm going to set this aside. So the next thing you have to do now is to take our long stripes again, which is our rope, okay? The lace, which is the lace they are going to pass across it. So all you have to do again is to fold this way, then you go ahead and sew it all the way down. So I'm going to do just that and show you guys what it looks like. So we have this for our lace. So we are going to set this aside. So don't forget that we said our lacing is going to move from the left hand side to the right hand side. So this is our left hand piece, and this is the right hand piece. So the next thing you have to do now is to determine how many inches you want, like how many inches gap you want for your lacing, okay? So if you are going with 2 inches, the next one will be 4, 6, 8, like it must be equal. 12. You can go in with 1 inch, you can go in with 3 inches, okay? But basically from 1 inch to 2 inches or 2.5 inches is actually okay. So I'm just going to notch my 2 inches, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So when you are done with that, you also do the same for the other piece. Now the number of inches you use for this is also what you are going to use for this, so that your lacing can be at the same point. So I'll just go ahead and mark this. Now taking this piece, what you have to do now is to place this piece. This is the right hand side. Let me adjust the camera, okay? This is the right hand side, this is our extra piece. So you place this piece this way, make sure the edges are equal. Now you go ahead with your loop, folded this way into 2, place it where you have your 2 inches, make sure it goes in very well. Then I don't know if you guys can see it, but let me just, I think it's better this way. So all you have to do now is to place this extra piece, place your right hand fabric on it, take your loops, place it exactly where you have your 2 inches. So you go ahead and sew. Make sure these edges are equal. The edges at this point are equal. So you go ahead and sew it gently. Now the next thing you have to do now is to take another loop, make sure it moves in and make sure they are equal. You sew it again. The next one, So guys, can you see it? You can see your lacing. Wow, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. So this is what we have. So you can see your lace, like your loops coming up already. So we do the same for the other piece. Now for this piece, you are only making use of your, for this other side, you're only going to fix in your loops. So your loops comes down this way, and then you stitch. Make sure you tack it at where your loop is so that your loop doesn't end up pulling off. So I'm just going to show you with just 3 samples, so you can go ahead and do as many as you want so that the video won't get too long and boring. So basically this is what you have. Can you guys see it? So you can see this is what you have as a lacing, and you have your rope. So you just pass your rope this way. Now you will discover that I didn't sew this part to this, okay, because this part is going to be attached to the front block. This other side is going to be attached to the front block, and this is supposed to be on its own. Just follow this procedure. So you just pass your ropes, like most times it's advisable, like people pass it like in form of a cross shape, so you can see your lacing. So I hope you found this video very educative and informative. If you do so, give this video a thumbs up, like, share and subscribe so you can see. So this part of the back block, this exact part, will be attached to the front block, and this will be attached to your front block because we have the front block which is our corset already. So you can see the lacing. You can see it. So you just go ahead and do as many as you want. So thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, like, share and subscribe. I'll see you guys. So your lacing, before I forget, your lacing could be, when you want it to be closed, you just pull your rope and it could be far away from each other. It depends on the size of your client. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.